Oh, they're doing that. Interesting. They still can't knock it out though. They could actually use VMAX Rapid Flow. Wow. But they have to discard all energies though. VMAX Rapid Flow doesn't knock us out. Yep, they discarded all energies because they know we're gonna knock them out the next turn, so there is no point saving those energies. So I'm gonna knock out both with Rose now. Watch the magic. But bad thing is I can't attack on the next turn. I don't care. I'm probably gonna draw some energy cards from the prize or our deck. It's 3 cards, so we get to draw 3 cards by our next turn. So now we need to use Sandaconda. But we get to hit twice as much because they are weak towards dark type. Sorry, they are weak towards fighting type, and we are actually doing a lot of damage with it as well. So all we need, we can even use Rapid Strike to do a lot of damage later. 240 for Rapid Strike. Sorry, for VMAX Rapid Flow. So all we need is 2 or 3. Oh, we got 4, I think. Oh my gosh, we got 4. Hello everybody, welcome back to Bearware the Terrible! Today we are featuring a new standard deck called the Rapid Fire Cannon! So in Rapid Fire Cannon, we have our Sandaconda card from Battle Styles with the Big Sand Cannon attack, allowing you to do 60 damage for each fighting energy discard from the top 6 card of your deck. So you have to discard all 6 cards from the top of your deck. That means you don't get to save any item, trainer, supporter cards, or Pokemon cards that you discard, unless you have rods or energy recyclers, Brock's Grid, Paw Pad in your deck. So those cards are really good to have in your if you're making a deck from Sandaconda, but I don't want to have those cards in my Sandaconda deck because I just don't think that's good, you know, because when I made that deck with a lot of energy recyclers in it, a lot of rods and Brock's Grid, it makes it really hard to use that attack to deal a lot of damage within the first few turns, because that's what we want to do. We want to be doing a lot of damage with Big Sand Cannon by our second or third turn. If possible, by our second turn, that is better, because that way we can knock out a VMAX before they charge it up. A fire type charge up their VMAXs very fast. Victini VMAX only 2 fire energy cost, and they can charge it with welders. They can charge it with all types of things. Fire decks are crazy. So they are voltage beat as well, leaf type. They can charge their Pokemon very fast. So by our second turn, we need to be doing a lot of damage with Big Sand Cannon. That is why I don't want to have those shuffling cards that shuffle your energy Pokemon cards back into your deck, or trainer cards back into your deck. Those cards are just a waste, because you're gonna have to think about discarding them or drawing them out so that you can thin your deck until only energy cards remain for you to do enough damage to knock out a VMAX with 2 hits or even 1 hit. So what we want to do is to be able to knock out a tag team or VMAX with 1 hit with our Sandaconda's Big Sand Cannon, but sometimes we are not able to. 2 hits is enough. So to pair with this card, we need another card to be able to to be able to strike them more than once, to be able to strike more Pokemons, and also to be able to get round 1 prize decks. Because if they are using 1 prize decks, then it would be really bad for us, because our Sandaconda is actually not very strong, because even though it does a lot of damage, it doesn't do much to a 1 prize deck. A 1 prize deck features a lot of 1 prize cards, and with the Snorlax Gormandise and all Primate Wisdom, all types of Jirachi from Team Up as well, all types of 1 prize cards with good abilities, they're probably not going to be playing Didin GX or Crobat V, and we don't have Boss Order in this deck, so we're not going to be expecting to knock out a Pokemon for 2 prizes. So Big Sand Cannon, the reason this card is not that good against 1 prize decks is because Big Sand Cannon has a huge cost for any for the player. So if you're playing this card this attack costs you a lot. Why do I say that? Because if you do Big Sand Cannon by your third time, if you attack with Big Sand Cannon by your third time, you would have essentially discarded way too many cards from your deck until you have to worry about all those, you have to worry about shuffling cards back into your deck. Otherwise, you will have essentially milled yourself to death. So we don't want to be doing that. We don't want to, deplete our deck too much until we have no cards left in our deck. Essentially losing the game because we have no turns left. So that's very, very bad because you essentially discard way too many cards. Because it's top 6, even though it's not a lot, but eventually when you when you go for gameplay, you realize that it's very fast. You know, after using all of your supporter cards, your trainer cards, after using evolving and all of those things, attaching energy, by your third or fourth turn, you will realize that you have very few cards left in your deck, and Big Sand Cannon actually is a very has a huge cost to it. So how do we work our way around that is with our Urshifu VMAX, because Urshifu VMAX allows you to knock out 2 Pokemons with 1 hit. If they don't play a Mew, we are relying on them not playing a Mew. If they have a Mew, then we are relying on them showing up in the active spot, knocking them out one by one until Mew shows up in the active spot, and then we can knock them out with either Skull Bash or Big Sand Cannon. Skull Bash is a good attack because it does not require you to discard your deck, and it's 120 damage, but it is 3 energy attack cost, so you do have to worry about that a little bit. And also, if they don't play a Mew, your Rapid Strike card, Rapid Flow, allows you to knock out 2 1-price cards, and that actually accelerates your win strategy. So how do we work? How do we pair these two together? It's actually not a pair. It's just kind of a option, you know, an added versatility. So we are trying to make this deck super versatile, so that when a lot of VMAXs, a lot of tag teams show up on our opponent's deck, then we just have to switch our strategy into a Sandaconda strategy, so only using Big Sand Cannon to attack. We are not gonna be using our Urshifu VMAX if they are playing a lot of VMAXs, unless it allows us the final hit. So sometimes we need the final hit to win the game. If they play like for example a V card and a VMAX, and then they play another VMAX, then we're essentially gonna have to knock out 3 V cards to win the game. But if we have a Rapid Flow, we can bypass the active Pokemon. We can knock out a bench 1-price card for the win. So essentially we only need to knock out a V card, a VMAX active Pokemon, and another 1-price card on their bench with our Rapid Flow. So sometimes Rapid Flow can be very good even if you're up against a VMAX deck. So if they're playing a 1-price deck though, then it's better not to use your Sandaconda at all, unless sometimes you may need to use it you may need to use the attack once or twice before you use your Rapid Flow, just because you can't really attach energy fast enough to it. So the way we are attaching our energy to our Urshifu VMAX is with Rose. So Rose is the way to go for this deck, because Rose allows you to attach from your discard pile to your Urshifu VMAX 2 basic energy cards. But you need to discard your hand. That is not a big deal because, well, we have our Magneton. So the reason it's not a big deal is because Magneton allows you to search your deck for 3 supporter cards, but you do have to knock out Magneton, meaning your opponent draws a prize card for your ability to work. But if we have a Magneton, if we have 2 Magnetons in play, we only need to use one of the Magneton to summon a Rose, and maybe a Greens Exploration and a Surge. I'll go to Greens later, but we can essentially draw out 3 supporter cards, use up those other 2, and then use Rose, and then to charge up to our, attach an energy to your Urshifu VMAX before you use Rose, because it is 3 energy cost. Rose only attaches 2 extra energies. So you do need to attach an energy from your hand before you use Rose, and then attack, and then on the next turn, you only need to use Call Signal again, because if you have another Magneton in play, hopefully we have another one. By that time, Greens would have, if we use Lieutenant Surge Greens and Rose, Greens would have evolved our second Magneton already. So On the next turn, you only need to use your call signal again to call for another rose and then knock out another 2 1 prize cards. So that essentially allows you to knock out 4 cards, 4 knockouts of, well, Pokemon with less than or equal to 120 HP, obviously, because it's only 120 damage. But if you knock out 4, you only need to knock out another 2 with your Sandaconda or with another rose, because we do have 3 rose in this deck. And you know, sometimes we can even knock it out with Gale Thrust. So it's better to just use your Sandaconda first, because if we use our Sandaconda first, even if they play 1 prize card, if you use your Sandaconda's Big Sand Cannon, then you will have accumulated enough energy cards in your discard pile for you to be able to use Rose, because Rose attaches energy from your discard pile. And also you will have essentially earned enough prize cards for you to add those 4 prize cards for the win, because you can essentially win the game if you have if you strike 2 rapid flows consecutively, with call signals if they play 1 prize decks. So that's essentially the main strategy of this game, the main strategy of this deck. We are focusing on Big Sand Cannon to do a lot of damage, a huge amount of damage to VMAX Pokemons, to tag teams, and to V cards as well, to draw at least 2 prize cards for a knockout. And we are trying to do, for 1 prize cards, we are trying to hit as many Pokemon as we can per turn consecutively with our Rose Urshifu VMAX combo and Magneton call signal, obviously, to call out our Rose. So it's quite pretty obvious, but sometimes you get befuddled in the game. So it's important to note right now that during the game you must only use Magneton's call signal for 1 rose. If you call out 2 rose, you're gonna have to discard the other rose with when you play your rose. So rose discards all cards from your hand when you play that card. That means if you have any other roses in your hand, you have to discard the full bouquet. So no rose in your hand, only 1. So it's better to call for Lieutenant Surge, Greens, and Rose, or Lieutenant Surge, Sonia, Rose. Sometimes we need Sonia because Sonia allows us to prepare our basic Pokemon. We might not even have energy cards in our hand. Very unlikely, but you never know. Sometimes you don't even draw energy cards. Even though we have 24 energies in this deck, yes, we do have a lot of energies in this deck. Fighting type, all basic cards. So the reason we have that much is because we need to do as much damage with Big Sand Cannons as possible to knock out a VMAX. It only does 60x. That means if they are a VMAX, it doesn't knock them out unless you discard all 6 fighting type energies. So if you discard 5, unless they are a Butterfree VMAX or a low HP VMAX Pokemon, they are not gonna get knocked out. Butterfree VMAX 300 HP, only 300 is enough. If they are a tag team, 300 is enough, unless they have a Brick Charm or they have any other cards that reduces damage or something like that. Stone energies, blah blah blah. So that's all. I don't want to go on too long. We have our setup cards. We have our Sonia, 4 Sonias, 4 Evolution Incenses, 4 Greens Exploration, and 2 Level Balls. Level Ball not only allows us to call for our Silicobra, Magnemite, it also allows us to call for our Magneton. And we also have 1 Gossifleur just in case it turns up as our first active. If it turns up as our first active, that would be the jackpot, sort of the jackpot, because we get to use Call for Family to draw out 3 basic Pokemon onto our bench on our first turn. That means that actually saves us a few Sonias. That means we don't have to waste our supporter cards on our turn. We can use other supporter cards on our turn instead of using those Sonias. Or we may even use a Sonia and summon 5 bench Pokemon. So that's just an added advantage. You know, it might turn up as your first active. If it doesn't, then it's completely useless throughout the entire game because we are playing high retreat cost Pokemons. We don't have switch cards. We don't have bird keepers. So Gossifleur is just a chance card that we're adding to this deck, because if you get to use Call for Family, you get to draw 3. You get to put 3 basic Pokemon onto your bench, whereas Sonia only puts 2. So and Level Ball only calls for 1. So Green's Exploration, obviously you get to call for 2 Level Balls or 2 Evolution Incenses, or even any supporter cards that you want to prepare for the next turn. Sometimes you may need Green's Exploration to call for a Level Ball and a Lieutenant Surge, so that on your next turn you get to use another 2 supporter cards. So it's just something to note, an interesting idea. So we can also use Strafe and 100 Furious Blows. It's important to note all of the attacks that you get to use so that you add versatility to your game, to your strategy. Because sometimes they might use decks that you are not expecting, and different attacks may become useful. So every attack is important to note. Every attack. Razor Leaf. Obviously we can't use that attack because it's 1 leaf energy cost and it only does 10 damage and it's pretty much useless. But you never know, they might be weak towards leaf type. 20 damage might be enough to knock them out, but we are not playing leaf energies, meaning we can't use Razor Leaf. So we also can't use Magnetic Blast or Supersonic or Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot is a good attack because if the defending Pokemon tries to attack during our opponent's next turn, they have to flip a coin. If tails, that attack does nothing. So Mirror Shot is like Sand Attack, except it's lightning energy cost, meaning we don't get to use it either. We get to use Skull Bash though, we get to use Tail Whop, we get to use Mud Shot. It's important to note every attack you get to use. So that's all for this deck. We have only 2 Lieutenant Surge because we don't really need it. We only need it for 1 time in the early stage of the game. Also, I need to talk about something really important right now. So when at the middle stage of the game, when you have set up when you have set up everything, when you have evolved all of your Pokemon, when all of your Pokemon are fully set in your battlefield, what you need to do now is that you need to get out all of the trainer cards out of the way. You need to get them out of the way so that you get to discard as many energy cards as possible to do as much damage as possible. That means Green's Exploration is the way to go. We need to use Lieutenant Surge, Green's Exploration, and another Greens to draw out as many trainer cards out of our deck as possible, and then use up all of those trainer cards to draw out even more cards, draw out our Pokemon cards until there's nothing left in our deck but energy cards. That way we get to do as much damage with Big Sand Cannon as possible. So that is, an important strategy for this deck. So that's all. Let's go for gameplay. So today's music will be cinematic style music from Papone Music, copyright-free music channel. If you want to check out their channel, go ahead. They feature good music. You get to use them in your videos as well because they are copyright-free music. So let's go ahead for gameplay with cinematic style music on the background. So we are playing our Rapid Fire Cannon deck for Sandaconda to do insane amount of damage with Big Sand Cannon. So for some reason, Rapid Fire Cannon reminds me of Octillery. Octillery with the Octazooka attack. The Bazooka Cannon. Octillery. But we are not playing Octillery in this deck. No Rapid Strike Surges. Only Sandaconda and Rapid Strike Urshifu. So we got our Rapid Strike card on the first active. Not really that good, but it has the strafe attack, meaning we don't need to switch it out. It's 2 energy retreat cost, which is not good. But we get to switch it out. So we have a Gossifleur. Let's call for a Gossifleur. Let's see what they have. Might not be a good idea to call for Gossifleur. Let's see. Let's just use a Gossifleur. And then we'll use greens for Evolution Incense or something. So we can actually knock out a Dino if they don't evolve. Well, they can't evolve on the first turn. So if they don't switch it out, if they don't put this as the active, which they probably are going to, then we can knock it out. Or we can knock out 2 Dinos or Zweilous. We can knock out 2 Zweilous with our Rapid Strike, VMAX Rapid Flow. So they're gonna Marnie us. We have to strafe I forgot that we actually have to strafe before we get to use Call for Family. That means we actually use up our level ball for nothing, because Call for Family is essentially useless now. We do have to knock out that what do you call that, tag team. That means we actually need both, just because they are playing quite a lot of dinos as well. So it might be a good idea to play both. Let's just put out a... Oh, it's weak towards leaf type, bug type. So the new dark type weak towards bug type. Some dark types are still weak towards fighting type from Sword and Shield. But most of the dark types are weak towards bug type now for Sword and Shield. So this is pretty scary because they have their Zorok Greninja charged up, and they are using, what's that called, Hydreigon. They're using Hydreigon's ability to spam a lot of dark energies onto their Pokemon so that they can do an insane amount of damage with their, what's the attack called, Dark Pulse. So Dark Pulse does 30x damage, sorry, 30 more damage for each dark energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So what are we gonna do here? I'm just gonna strafe again, just because I can. Strafe for the kill. So we already have a Lieutenant Surge. We don't have any more Magnemites. So we have a Silicobra. Do we have any balls? We have a level ball. That's good. So let's call 2 of that one. Ooh, I don't know what to do here. Let's just yeah, let's just do that. We'll get a rose when we get our evolution card. It's easy to evolve our Urshifu now because we have our greens for evolution cards. So greens for... Let's get a rose on the next turn. Get a Silicobra. Get a Urshifu VMAX maybe? Why not actually? Nah. No. I don't really know what to get here. There's just way too many choices. If we get a greens, let's just get 2 greens. Yeah, what the hell, let's just get 2 greens. Because we don't need a Urshifu VMAX right now. We don't need to evolve either. So there really is no point. Let's just switch back to Gossifleur. Gossifleur is useless essentially because it was just it's just the wrong time. The what do you call that? The wrong turn to be playing it. Oh dear, they marnied us. Should have called for Evolution Incense then. Oh well. Oh, we got an evolution now. We got a Magnemite though. A Magnemite from our prize card, but that's now back in at the bottom of our deck thanks to Marnie. So now we need to use Sandaconda. But we get to hit twice as much because they are weak towards dark type. Sorry, they are weak towards fighting type. And we are actually doing a lot of damage with it. as well. So all we need, we can even use Rapid Strike to do a lot of damage later. 240 for Rapid Strike, sorry, for VMAX Rapid Flow. So all we need is 2 or 3. Oh, we got 4, I think. Oh my gosh, we got 4 and they just let us win. We were up against a dark type, so a Sun and Moon dark type. So Sun and Moon, they are still weak towards fighting type. Sword and Shield, as I said, they are weak towards bug type. So that's why Dino survived the strafe hit. Otherwise Dino would have been dead. So our second game is against a fire type. Let's see. Fire decks are insane. Now they have the Victini VMAX. Victini does 220 damage for 2 energies. And but your opponent's active Pokemon has to be the defending Pokemon has to be a VMAX. If it's not a VMAX, then it only does 100 damage. I can't remember the Frogadier, sorry, the... what's it called again? Greninja, right, my bad. I'm forgetting so many things now. I'm getting old. I'm getting so old. So let's just get that one because I don't think they're playing... I don't know what kind of Greninja they're playing. They could be playing the push down, bring down Greninja. But we have a Silicobra in the active anyways, so we don't need to be summoning it unless they knock us out, which they probably are going to, but we can't do anything about that. So if they play a lot of 1 prizes, which looks like it, well, it doesn't look like it now because they have a Ninetales V. Unbroken Bonds, I think it is the bring down one. So bring down, you knock out the lowest HP Pokemon in play. So if their Pokemon has lower HP than our Pokemon, that means they knock out their own Pokemon. I think. I'm not sure, but I think that's how it works. After Image Strike. If any damage is done, the Fable Coin prevent... Alright. Okay, it's a Sand attack. It's a Sand attack that works for them. It's like a barrier spell. Kind of like the Dragapult's ability, except it's an effect. What are we gonna do now? We definitely need Lieutenant Surge. We just evolved it, that means we can't use greens. So if you want to be using greens before evolving Magneton, it's better to do that sometimes. Then don't evolve first, because Magneton is an ability Pokemon. Greens doesn't work if you have any ability Pokemons in play. So we can call for a Rose, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. Lieutenant Surge. Let's call for let's just spam a lot of greens. It's always good to be playing a lot of greens because that thins out your deck. That means you do more damage with your big Sand Cannon, but actually that might not be a good thing because you actually deplete your deck twice as much. And if they're playing 1 prize cards, don't do that because you're gonna be wasting way too many cards from your deck way too fast. So let's evolve. Way too many choices here. I think I'm gonna be playing as Sonia. Let's see if we have Magnemite. So we have Magnemite, we have Silicobra. We could be discarding something though. So that's the danger of playing Sandaconda. You can be discarding the cards you need. And we don't have, I don't think we have, I don't think we have a Rod in this deck. We have a Rod in this deck, but I don't think we have a Rod right now in our deck. Could be in our prize card. It is in our prize card. So I'm gonna draw out a Sandaconda. Urshifu VMAX is useless now. Let's hope we don't oh, we just discarded the Urshifu. Oh well. Oh, they flip a heads. Oh, I forgot about the image strike. Darn it, now they're gonna bring down. There we go. The Pokemon that has the least HP remaining except for this Pokemon is knocked out. If multiple Pokemon are tied, choose one. Wow, that's interesting. So they're gonna knock out our Magnemite. Arg. So we discarded our Urshifu VMAX for nothing. It could actually knock out Greninja. If they play a lot of one price cards, there we go. But it couldn't knock out Entei yet. I wonder what attacked 10. Oh, we actually tail whopped it. We tail whopped for 10 damage just now. So they brought our Magnemite down. Brought it down, and we couldn't use Lieutenant Surge anymore. I don't think I used my second greens just now. Oh dear, I used a Sonia. I thought I used 2 greens. Sorry guys, I'm not really alert here. So we have another Urshifu VMAX, so that's not bad. We get to evolve again. What are we gonna do here? Let's get a Sonia or Rose. Let's get a Rose. Sonia or Rose? We can't use Sonia this turn anyway, so just get a Rose. Okay, we have another Urshifu, thank goodness. And it's our second energy, so that's good. It's definitely dead now, like definitely dead now. Bye-bye, Greninja. After Image Strike, seriously, I can't believe that thing. you could actually protect it so that you can evolve the next turn. So it's actually a super strong attack in a way, because it's kind of a half protection spell and allows you to leave it alive, keep it alive for another turn so that you get to evolve it on the next turn, and then you know, use your Greninja for a knockout. Our Rose just got shuffled back, put at the bottom of our deck thanks to Marnie. 9-tailed Shapeshifter. Oh, they're gonna use Skull Bash though. They can't use Big Sand Cannon, they have to use Skull Bash. What are we gonna do? VMAX Rapid Flow. We're gonna have to use this one. Come on, knock it out. Ah. What? One more. Heat Dash doesn't do much. 30 doesn't knock it out. Ah, darn it, because they have a heat energy. So Gale Thrust doesn't knock it out. Oh, they're doing that. Interesting. They still can't knock it out though. They could actually use VMAX Rapid Flow. Wow. But they have to discard all energies though. VMAX Rapid Flow doesn't knock us out. Yep, they discarded all energies because they know we're gonna knock them out the next turn, so there's no point saving those energies. They boss order us, so that's bad. We just need a Rose, but we can't find our our Magnemites are not in play. We can't find our Rose. We can actually shuffle our deck though. Let's shuffle our deck, because they just put our Rose at the bottom. We have 2 Roses. Let's max rapid flow right now. They actually can't do anything though. Do they have welders? Oh, they do have welders. Scary. Let's just rapid flow then. Gale Thrust knocks it out if they don't attack us. Then oh, we got a Rose. They're probably gonna Marnie us again. Like, Marnie is incredibly annoying. Heat Dash, Fire Fang doesn't knock us out. It's way too weak. Come on, Fire Fang. They have pretty weird deck, a pretty weird formation. One Greninja, one Ninetales V, one Entei, and one Ninetales. Fire Fang. So I'm gonna knock out both with Rose now. Watch the magic. But bad thing is I can't attack on the next turn. I don't care. I'm probably gonna draw some energy cards from the prize or our deck. It's 3 cards, so we get to draw 3 cards by our next turn. So it's very unlikely we won't be drawing any energy cards. Like, come on. Oh dear. No energy. Okay, 1 left. Let's hope that's an energy. We have 24 energies in this deck. 19, that's 5 energies left. Oh dear. 5 energies left in our deck. No energy. Oh, we have a Rose. We just got a Rose. Ahaha. Phew, that was close. Gale Thrust for the win. Oh. Okay, that was a little too short, so let's go for another one. That was pretty fun though. It was quite, what do you call it, satisfying. Because we get to use Rose twice. Even though we didn't draw energy cards on those 3 cards that I mentioned, the 2 prize cards and on the turn's draw, we drew a Rose instead. And Rose allows us to charge up for Gale Thrust, which knocks out the doll, which is their only Pokemon in play. So thank God for that. Urshifu as our first active again. So we're not gonna call for Gossifleur now. They're playing Continuous Gulp Missile, Cremorant, Arokuda. Cremorant Arokuda to do max of 240 damage per turn, with a lot of Nessas, with a lot of capture energies, twin energies, quick balls. You get the point. Familiar Bell is good as well. So we need Magnemite. Let's get 2 Magnemites because Rapid Flow is actually a good card against this deck. But we need to strafe now because if we don't, it's gonna get knocked out. So we're gonna save that for a Magneton. And now we're gonna switch to our Silicobra because that's how powerful this card is. Strafe allows you to switch it back into the active spot. Switch it back into the bench position for a semi-protection because they can still hit the bench. We don't have a Mew and they can still boss order, knock it out. But it's still a semi-protection. So let's evolve right now. We get to evolve a lot. We don't have a breeder, I don't think. We have no breeder in this deck, but we have greens for Evolution Incense. We can actually knock it out right now. Oh dear. That's bad for them. We're gonna call for 2 greens. Draw out as many cards from our deck as we can. We have a Rose at hand, so we don't need that card anymore. We need an Evolution Incense, 2 Evolution Incense. For a Sandaconda and a Urshifu VMAX. No ultra rare. So let's get even more cards. Let's get those item cards because we get to use it. Magneton. We can actually Magneton again. Wow. That actually takes out even more cards. Sorry about that, guys. I just need to press something on my phone. Yep, okay. Let's see what we can get. So let's get that one. Get even more supporter cards. So no Rose, my bad, no Rose. Let's get 2 Sonia because we might have to use Rose the next turn. We have no more Lieutenant Surge. So get those supporter cards out of the way for a knockout. All we need is 2 energies. All we need is 2 energy discards. Come on, Sandaconda, give us 2 energy discards. We have 24 energy cards in this deck. Obviously, we have 4 in play. Sorry, 2 in play, 2 in our hand, and a few in our press card. But we have a lot of energies. There we go, we won the game. That was quick. Just because they only have 1 Pokemon in play. They're not playing twin energies, they're only playing a Cramorant with water energy cards, and they haven't got their Arrokudas yet. Also, they are not playing any other supporting cards like Snorlax Gormandize, Jirachi Stellar Wish, Celebi from Shining Fates with the Woodland Stroll ability, Ocean Search Manaphy. Cards like that actually really helps boost your Cramorant deck, and usually they have those cards with Oricorio GX, Dideen GX, Crobat Vs in their deck if they're playing a Cramorant. Maybe they have a really bad hand, or maybe they just don't add those cards in their deck, which is not a good idea because if you are playing a Cramorant, it's better to have those supporting cards. Pokemons with abilities that lets you draw cards faster, that allows you to search your deck, the top few cards of your deck, so that it makes your, it accelerates your game and then allows you a higher chance of winning. So it's actually, you know, we might not have been paired with a good opponent, or they might just have a really bad hand. So attaching water energy is not a good idea as well, unless they have wash energy, or maybe a few twin energies that they have not yet drawn. So you never really know, maybe they just really have a bad hand. So that's all for this deck. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's called Rapid Fire Cannon, featuring our big sand cannon attack from Sandaconda. From the Battle Styles expansion, very new card, and very powerful attack as well, but it only does a max of 360, and you have to discard all fighting energy from the top 6 cards of your deck to be able to do that max damage. If you discard only 5, then you do only 300 damage, not enough to knock out VMAX with 1 hit, but that is still a lot of damage. Even if you deal only 300 damage, you can still do a rapid flow to knock out the VMAX and something else as well. So that is why we have our rapid flow card, because rapid flow allows us to not only target the VMAX when it's already weakened, it also allows us to target any bench supporting Pokemons that they are relying on for abilities, for any supports. So if they have any Pokédolls in their bench remaining Pokemons in play, if their if their active Pokemon is heavily damaged and their only other Pokemon is a Pokédoll or anything on their bench that we can knock out with a rapid flow, then we essentially win the game, because rapid flow essentially knocks out all Pokemon, wipes out their battlefield, making them causing them to have no Pokemon in play left. And if they have no Pokemon left in play, then they lose the game. So rapid flow is a strong attack. We are relying on them not playing Mew. If they have a Mew, then we are relying on that Mew to show up on its own, onto the active spot, because we have no boss order, we have no way of placing damage counter on the Mew until we knock it out. So the only way is to knock out the active Pokemon one by one with our Big Sand Cannon until the Mew shows up, and then knocking out the Mew, and then after that doing our Rapid Flow. So that is actually a very bad move for us, but you know, if they play a Mew and a one price deck, then that's the only thing we can do, because this deck is not tailored for those decks. If we are against a Salazzle Whipping-Bell with a Mew, then that would be very bad. This deck will have a very low chance of winning. But if you're paired against tag teams, VMAXs, Vs, a lot of V cards, then this deck has a very high rate of winning. Why? Because we are dealing a lot of damage with our Big Sand Cannon, and we are also it also allows us to a double shot with our VMAX Rapid Flow. So double shot can work really well if they don't play a Mew, or if their Mew gets knocked out very fast, very easy. Sometimes we can manipulate the game until we knock out the Mew easily within the first few turns, and they might only have one Mew. Then that allows us to use our Rapid Flow constantly. And how do we use our Rapid Flow as many times per game as possible? We do it with Rose. We do it with Rose and Magneton Call Signal. So if we have, as I said previously earlier in the video, if we have two Magnetons already evolved on our bench, we can use one to summon a Rose, a Lieutenant Surge, and a Greens. Get our trainer cards with our Greens, use up our Greens with use it to summon item cards, use up our item cards, and then use Rose to attach 2 extra energy. We have to attach an energy from our hand first, because Rose requires you to discard your hand, meaning if you use Rose before you attach your energy, you cannot attach an extra energy. Because Rapid Flow is 3 energy attack cost, Rose only attach 2 energies from your discard pile to your VMAX Pokemon. So if you do Rapid Flow with your Rose, on your next turn, all you have to do is use your call signal, your second call signal from your second Magneton, to call for another Rose and another 2 supporter cards. And then if you have more prize cards left, then you get to use Lieutenant Surge. If you don't, it's okay. You still get to use Rose for another VMAX Rapid Flow. Well, if you still need an energy though, you need an extra energy onto your hand, but it's very likely to draw that energy with having knocked out a few Pokemons, drawing a few prize cards, and on your turn's draw, because you need to discard your hand. So even if you have extra energies in your hand, after using Rose, you have to discard everything. That means you have to rely on your next turn's draw, plus those extra prize cards that you draw from any VMAX Rapid Flow knockouts. You have to rely on them being energy cards, so that you get to attach it to your Urshifu VMAX, and then immediately call signal for another Rose, and then attach another 2 energies. So that's the only risky part, but we do have 24 energy cards in this deck, so it is very likely that we are going to be drawing energy cards from those prize cards that we took, and also from our turn's draw. But you never know, you might be unlucky, or you might even draw something else, you know, a Sonia that allows you to draw energy cards, and you might still have more prize cards left. Then that allows you to use your Lieutenant Surge. So Lieutenant Surge, Sonia, Rose actually allows you to charge up for 3 energy costs, for a 3 energy cost attack, VMAX Rapid Flow for another hit. So you get to hit VMAX Rapid Flow consecutively non-stop. And if you have another call signal, which is pretty unlikely because we only have 3 Magnetons in this deck and only 3 Roses in this deck, so it's actually smarter to only expect to play 2 Rose per game. And also, as I said before, don't bring in too many Rose to your hand if you're playing a Rose, because you have to discard every other card if you're playing that card. So it's better to use your Greens, use your Lieutenant Surge, Greens to prepare for your next Magneton, and then Rose for energy, Rapid Flow, and then on the next turn, Magneton for another Rose. That's the way to go. So that is how this deck works. It is very simple. We are relying on Big Sand Cannon to knock out a heavy prize card Pokemon, a VMAX Tag Team, or a lot of V cards, and we can't really do a lot of big sand cannon because we are gonna be discarding way too many cards from our deck, so we have to watch out for that. But if we knock out enough VMAX with enough big sand cannon hits, then we essentially win the game. And also, if they are playing a lot of one price cards, if they are playing only a one price deck, only one price cards, then GMAX Rapid Flow will allow us to win because we are intending on a consecutive GMAX 1 flow hit with our Rose card. So it's actually a versatile deck. You're either going to play a lot of big sand cannon attacks, or you're going to play a lot of Magneton Rose GMAX Rapid Flow combos. So we also have to rely on them not playing a Mew. If they play a Mew card, we have to destroy that Mew first before we get to use a Rapid Flow, a constant Rapid Flow hit. So that's all for this deck. I don't want to go on too long. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. If you find our videos interesting, entertaining, or refreshing in any way, leave any comments below. If you find, if you want us to make a card that you find challenging, if you want to challenge us, or if you want us to make a card that you find really difficult to make a deck out of, or if you have any questions for anything that you're stuck with for this game, leave them in the comment section below. We will answer them. So that's all for this video. Have a nice day, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep playing, keep smiling, keep perfecting your strategy, and well, just keep having fun, because this game is supposed to be about having fun. So experiment with new strategies, explore different territories, explore your own personality by meshing different ideas together, meshing different cards together. Keep experimenting new ways, because that is how you can stumble upon the best formation, the best combo, and make the best deck, the most powerful deck that anyone has ever seen before. So that's all. Have a nice day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!